A circle full of dogs. We put in work. Let's go in there with a bunch of crazy dogs.
Boom! Welcome to another episode of Giants Rush, where we are talking Giants football 52 weeks of the year. Now, I'm not really sure why it's so dark in here, so I'm gonna get some more light going on here in a second. But want to thank you guys for tuning in. We got the guys in the back. We got Alex. We got Truth in there, and Shaun Morash from WFAN is gonna come hang out with us. We got to talk about a whole lot of stuff. And people, training freaking camp. I mean, like, how long we've been waiting for this? A freaking year. It feels like forever. So it's pretty cool that we got some stuff to talk about. We could talk about Jones and Nabers and Wandale. We could talk about Burns and we could talk about Thomas. Plenty of really cool things to talk about. We're going to start off the show with a little bit of Hard Knocks, see what the guys think, if they've seen it, what their premise is, or what their opinions are. And again, thanks for hanging out with us. It's always good to see you guys. I see you guys are coming in the room now. Thanks for tuning in. This is Giants Rush. NYGiantsRush.com is a website. YouTube channel is, of course, Giants Rush. That's where all the interviews are, whether it's David Deal, Dominic Hickson, Chase Blackburn, all the way up to Isaiah Hodgins and Nick Gates and Kurt Warner. All those guys are in there if you want to check out all our interviews. Bill is in the house. What's up, Bill? Good to see you. We're going to chop up a lot of stuff. Like I said, training camp brings out the best of everybody because there's so many different dramas and storylines. Let's bring in the guys. Let's bring in Truth. He's got his piano in the background today. Look. What's up, Truth?
Hey, what's going on?
I don't know. My light's a little dark, so I think I have to turn it. Yeah, I think I have to turn another light on. So I'm going to do that in a second. But Truth, we're going to talk a little Hard Knocks. What's up, Jay? We're going to talk a little Hard Knocks, right? See what you guys' thoughts are so far, right? Which will be, Tuesdays, 9 o'clock on Max. Not that they're paying me to plug them, but in case you live under a rock and you don't know where the show is, it is on Max. Speaking of Max, let's bring in the Max man himself, all the way from Houston. Bang, there he is. New Papa in the house. What's up, Alex?
What's going on, guys? Good to be back.
Dude, you were making me sweat. I was like, it's 8 o'clock. Where's my guy, Alex? You were making me sweat, dude. I know you were making an entrance.
Oh, no, with the kid, you're just running behind on everything right now.
Dude, just chuck him in there. Let him sit right next to you and hang out. I saw your video. You already had him watching Helmet Catch. I saw it.
Yep. Yeah, we got to start him early.
She, by the way. Sorry. She.
Got to start her early.
Oh, that's nice. That's nice.
Yeah, he skipped all the the Blues Clues. He's going right to Giants highlights. And
it's strictly film.
Yeah. She's going to be, dude, by the time she's 8, she's going to have her own subscription to Giants.com. She's going to be breaking down all the films.
She'll have our own podcast.
Yeah, right. Probably. She's going to, honestly, if you want to know the truth.
I'll be on this.
Yeah, Baby E will be replacing me. Okay. So, but good to see you, Alex. Glad you're here. Shaun Morash at 8:30. Guys, Hard Knocks. We're in week 3. I'll start with you, Alex. Have you seen it? Did you not see it yet? And if you have,
no, I'm all caught up, man. I really like this. I mean, this is my first time getting to weigh in on this show, but I just love the perspective we get. I'm biased towards it being the Giants, but we already seen training camp. We saw the in-season one. Getting to kind of see how Shane and everybody work behind the scenes has been a really cool perspective, I think, to look at, and just kind of seeing how they were going in to when we do our draft show, and we were like, all right here, if they take Alt here, we could maybe slot Nabers in here. It was cool seeing Joe Shane kind of doing that, but he's the guy making the calls in real time. That was a cool perspective to get to see. So I've really enjoyed Hard Knocks.
Yeah, I actually think, Alex, what I like about it is how many words can we be just, has people use to describe the New York Giants? It's a poverty franchise. You guys are clowns. You guys, you're the redhead stepchild of the NFL. I've heard it all, right? I think Hard Knocks has given, I think anyway, a pretty cool perspective on this is Joe Shane's team. We've got new technology. We're okay with Hard Knocks being in the building. We're not going to be old heads and keep everything close to the vest. We're going to let you see everything we can. And of course, there is some fine line on what you approve and what you don't, right? Everything I read, truth, everything I read says that the Giants do not have final say over what gets produced. They have some creative license, but they're not saying, hey, you can't see that. Have you read that, Truth? Is that on your radar?
No, I didn't read that part, but it seems like they're really an open book. I mean, I was shocked how much they got into it behind the scenes even with the Saquon stuff,
Great.
and and you could see we all knew how much Mara loved Saquon, but he was worried. You could see him walking around the office how worried he was, and he even said, "I sure hope you don't go to the Eagles." He said, so. It is what it is, but it's like Alex, man. I love it so far. I love it. It's an open book.
Open book, yes. As much as the Giants can be an open book, it's an open book, right? Because like I said, they're a little bit of keeping everything pretty close to the vest. But I like it. I think it kind of gives a new perspective on like the Giants. Like you're kind of like, okay, new technology. We got this war room here. I don't know, just. It didn't feel like old Giants for a change.
No, and like you were saying about Shane, kind of it's Shane's team where Mara was talking to him like, I really hope we can find a way to keep Saquon. And he's like, yeah, look, like I wanted to give Saquon a lot of money last year, and Saquon said no to me. And then like where you also see like it seemed like he had Nabers higher than Harrison on his board. Where he was like, Nabers will be there for us. Maybe he just already assumed he was going to go to Arizona. But it seemed like it's cool seeing Shane being the one that's like, look, I understand you want to do this, boss. This is what we're going to be doing, though. This is the plan. We're going to stick to the plan.
Bang. I love that. Because that's exactly what the opinion I got. I'm like, is he telling the boss to get out?
Because you're the guy that loses your job. The boss doesn't lose his job. You lose your job.
Exactly.
And if you're catering to what your boss wants to do instead of what you want to do and what you think the direction is, you got to do what you got hired to do. And I think that's cool that Shane's actually doing that. Gettleman would have cowered in a second and he would have like, we'll make him the highest paid running back in the league. It's easy. It's over with.
He would have broke out into the stand-up comedy he normally does. And then you'd be like, oh, we're screwed for another year. But he's like, hey, look, I'm not paying a $40 million quarterback to hand off to a $12 million quarterback or I should be a $12 million running back. Or when he said, hey, if we don't get a quarterback here, let's get Jones some weapons. And you're like, all right, this is some good dialogue. We're starting to see, they're painting a picture of like, dude, if we're going to do anything, we got to go vertical. We need.
And you know what? And you know what else we learned? You seen that shit. You seen that they were high on Daniels. They were high on Daniels. And once they realized that, I think if I remember right, looking at the show, about 4 hours before the draft, Shane called up New England. They said, "Nah, we're not moving. We're not gonna trade out. We're gonna stay with." Then he knew right then and there he ain't getting Daniels unless something crazy happens. Then he shifts gears, and you see him put together a scenario with all the owners came in. Remember, he had like 5-6 scenarios. I love that part, boy. It was like
that's what we all need to do.
Yeah, it's like what we do. And
in fact, Truth, I'll take it a step further. Why your point is so dead on. Was we had last week, for anyone that's just tuning in, maybe there's some new folks out there. Last week we had Jordan Renan on from ESPN. And what Jordan said about that very take that you're having right now, Mike, was what was interesting was I was under the assumption that some of those conversations were held weeks prior, right? And I just thought they were showing you what they got. They're all wearing suits because it's actually right before the draft. So I didn't even register. I always, I consider myself, fairly observant, but hello, these cats are wearing suits, not hoodies and t-shirts. And I'm like, or whatever, golf shirts, polos, whatever they're wearing every day to the office, right? But it's still kind of cash. And Jordan's like, no, that whole conversation happened right before the draft. They're all wearing suits. It's go time. And I was like, oh my God. Like, you're right. That's like literally what they were thinking right before. So kudos to Hard Knocks. Kudos to everything they've done so far. I do not believe anything's like hammed up or faked. I think they're doing a great job. Alex, anything on Hard Knocks that surprised you? Like anything you were like, maybe on the negative side, you're like, oh, I can't believe they did that, or they should have done this. Anything that like you're not enjoying?
No, not really. I mean, I think that it's a cool look. Like I wasn't going into it to break down like what did they do right and what did they do wrong. I was just kind of like, I want to see how the sausage gets made, and we've gotten to see that. So I've just been looking at it from that perspective instead of like, what am I not happy about?
Alex, you're all froze up, so you're a little janky right there. Like you broke up. You might want to think of dropping and coming right back in because you're still frozen.
Okay, let me try.
Good luck.
Yeah.
Luck.
Come back in. Come back in. It was a good point.
You know what I hope, Craig? I hope that the next one, I don't know if they're going to continue with the draft and talk about the second and the third round. And I don't know if they're going to do that. I hope they do it because, a lot of guys that they really liked, they got, right? Right? Bowen loved Newman, right? He loved Tyler Newman. And they talked about him briefly, remember, at the
yeah.
And then they talked about Theo Johnson. They were talking about him when he went to Penn State. So it's like, it looked like all the ducks fell in a row for them for the draft.
Yeah, I do. Everything, again, Alex has definitely got some. We have a storm happening down there.
No, I have no idea.
That's being a dad, or first time dad.
Yeah, like you're using all your internet up for your little one. Like, what's going on?
Am I any better?
I can hear you better.
Your video is frozen and your audio is coming through in spots.
That's weird. I have no idea. I'm plugged into the Ethernet and everything, so it should be good. I don't know.
Technology sucks, man. It will always let you down. Though you look pretty good on screen because you're frozen. Oh, wait, there
he moved.
He moved a little bit. No, now you're looking sideways and down, and you're rocking the beard, so you kind of have a Jesus kind of complex going.
Okay.
Oh no, that's frozen too, but that's not.
No. I don't know what I'm doing, man. It looks okay on my end. I don't know why it's weird like that to you guys.
Interesting. All right, you know what? Just try one more time, jumping out and coming back in. Let's see if that changes. I feel bad for him, right? So Truth, you know what? What I was kind of hoping about. Yes, you're right. They did get Newman. They got who they wanted. All of that's perfect, right? But what I was hoping I would see a little bit more was I wanted them to get more in depth about the offensive line. Like I wanted to see a little bit more into like, hey, these are the guys that, we're going to try to go out and get, because Paul Dottino had, when he was on our show real early, like February, he mentioned about Greg Van Rotten way back then that he would be a good fit for this team. So I got to give Paul a shout out for that. And I'm more inclined to lean on like, hey, who are they signing? How much money do they have left? Like, if they're having these guys in the building, or is Brasillo actually, talking to Dabes about, hey, these are some guys we should target. Like, they did a real good job with Bowen actually rolling out what type of defense he wants.
Yeah.
What kind of players he wants. I was hoping they would do a little bit more, and maybe they will, a little bit more of that on the offensive side.
Yeah, you're right. Give them equal share. That would have been interesting. I just hope that they touch more on the draft and to see if indeed Newman was the target, or was it because all the cornerbacks were taking before it got to the Giants' second round pick, That's
a great question. Alex, what's your thoughts on Yeah, it's a little better. What's your thoughts? Did you think they were going to go corner or safety? Because it looks like they wanted the safety, but you think that maybe that was a move because the corners were gone.
I felt like they were going to go corner, but yeah, like I don't know. I do agree with you on that spot. It did look like the safeties were gone, so I think corner is probably just the best option.
Because I just said the truth that I'm hoping that on tomorrow's episode they maybe get into a little bit on like the offensive line, like who was available, who were they going to pay, who weren't they going to pay, right? Because when you everything I'm reading about Runyon decided he had an opportunity to sign with the Jets.
Yep.
He had an opportunity to sign with the Giants, and Runyon decided to sign with the Giants because he liked the team that the Giants were building more than what the Jets were building. And you know, the information, you know, that I was reading went on to say potentially, you know, the Jets could be looking for a new head coach. You know what I mean? Like next year, if they don't have a successful year, and everybody pretty much thinks that, you know, regardless of what happens this year, Dabes and Shame come back. So, Alex, if you are, I can't tell if you're good or not. What's your thought on that?
No, yeah, like I think that makes the most sense, but I do think that like the Giants are also in a very similar situation to the too, where it's a bad year from so I think that shows that he's that's
dang it.
Yeah. I don't know why it's doing this, man. I'm gonna dip. I feel like I'm just hurting the broadcast right now.
Oh, all right. See, but look, you're good there when you're moving.
Am I now? See, like I don't know. My internet's been like it's been doing this shit since we had this storm a couple weeks ago.
I hear you good now.
Yeah, like your audio's good, and right now your video's good.
Okay, let's hope that it's been buffering in and out. I don't know why.
Real question. Didn't they match for Runyon? Didn't they match that offer? If I remember right.
Yeah, the money was I think there was maybe $1 million difference between the two, but it was very close. But his opinion was he liked what the Giants were building and where they were going direction wise, and I thought that was pretty cool. Like I mean, like, 'cause, you know, here's a guy who, you know, he's grown up hating the Giants. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, and I'm saying that from firsthand experience because I'm from South Jersey. John Runyon lived the next town over. I'd see the guy, his dad anyway. I'd see his dad, you know, like see him once a week in the summer at the ice cream shop with his kids and stuff like that. So that kid grew up hating the Giants. So I don't know if his dad gave him the heads up that, hey, look, they're going the right way. But I think he made a really good decision because he comes in. Yeah, it's business. He starts, and he's only said good things about the Giants. Alex, question that I had, we were just talking about a second ago was, what do you think is left on the table for Hard Knocks? What do you think they have in the tank for tomorrow night?
I think tomorrow night's obviously going to be focused on getting Nabers, kind of bringing him in, the introduction to him and everything. I feel like that'll be the majority of what we see tomorrow night. And then maybe like fitting him into the offense. Maybe we see a little bit of Daniel Jones working his way back. I feel like we haven't really gotten a lot of Daniel this whole series so far.
Yeah, and we're holding off to get into camp until Shaun pops on. So, but you're right. There isn't a lot of Daniel talk on Hard Knocks, which, by the way, is super surprising, right? Because we all thought that would be a topic from the offseason, right? Truth. Have you noticed that too? Not a lot of Jones talk, right? So
yeah, only in the beginning when you mentioned when Shane talked about handing a quarterback $40 million, hand out the $12 million running back. Not a lot of talk about Jones on the last show. Nope.
And I think Alex's point's probably perfect to say, hey, like, okay, we're coming to the end of the series. You know, now we gotta kind of tip the hat towards the draft and why we decided on the guys that we did, right? You know, why is it Nabers, Phillips and Newman, right? Like that's right. I'd have to think that would be a little bit of tomorrow's show, no?
Yeah, I would think. I hope they show us in the war room and they're looking at the picks before them and they're saying, good, I hope but I hope Phillips is still there when our time comes. So I hope Johnson's still there, or is it like, oh, they got our guy, let's go get Johnson now? No, I want to see if that happens,
Yeah. Overall, there's it's a fun series. I'm super glad they did it. So we got next week, Chris and I, who I like to call Nails, we'll be at training camp. So we're looking to hang out with some of you guys. If you guys are around, I think we're going either on the 5th or the 6th. I'm going to nail that down. No pun intended. But we're going to be there at camp and just kind of moseying around, hanging out. So hope we can meet up with a couple of you folks out there in Giants land. We've got Paul Dottino coming on in a couple of weeks, working on that.
That's good.
Yeah, Paul's always good. He gives us some good insight. Jordan was great last week.
Yeah.
And, Alex, I don't know if you got a chance to listen to last week's show, but we were talking about defense, and Alex was saying, Jordan was saying he's not even sure about right now. Like, it could go either way with Bowen, right? Like, was he just a product of Vrabel, or is this guy going to build out a really great defense? Because the first thing we've learned is it's more basic, and he wants to rush the passer. Do we have the right pass rushers, right? See, Chris is in the room. I'm going to pop that on the screen right now because there's Nails himself. We are going Monday the 5th, joint practice with the Lions, Carb Crush, which is Nails, which is Chris, and I will be there.
He loves that nickname too, by the way.
He does. The guy's got humongous biceps. He just doesn't want to admit it. And we'll have Paul on. And Jay, you are right. He's got good energy, Jay, because I'll pop Jay's comment up on here. Dottino can make, even the most negative fan, positive, love his energy. Yeah. Listen, he's a homer, but that's why we love him, right? We want to hear some positiveness. We're past the negative stuff, right? We're over that fence. So we want some positive stuff, right? I don't know. Tell me what you're looking forward to in the next week or two. Like, what is this? What are you like refreshing your computer, or what are you refreshing Twitter on, hoping to hear?
Really, I'm honestly just refreshing, hoping I see more Malik Nabers highlights. Those have been my favorite things I've seen on my time.
I think you will.
It's been a lot of fun to just I know that there's been a lot of negativity about the training camp videos that have come out and stuff, but to me, and I don't want to get too much into it, it's like, that's what training camp and preseason are for. Like, when something cool happens, you're like, we're going to be awesome this year. And then when something bad happens, you're like, that doesn't matter. It's just practice. Like, it's fine. So, like, that's what I like being in that mindset. And that may be stupid, but, like, it's not going to make any sense to get mad about the team already right now. Like, we'll have a whole season to do that if they're bad. And let's just enjoy them being good right now. And then if they're awesome, we're like, see, we didn't worry about it.
Yeah, Alex and Craig, it's not so much the bad plays. They're targeting one guy every time there's something shown.
Hold it. Yep. Hold that premise to when Morash gets on.
I was trying
we are going to talk about that. Yeah. We're holding off. We're holding off on that. I will say, Cold is in the building. There you are, Cold. I was wondering where you were. I was getting a little nervous. You went on vacation and you weren't coming back. So glad to hear Cold's in the room. What's up, Shaun? What's up, Jay? We got Nails. I'm just saying, what's up?
He's doing some curls right now.
He's doing curls right now. Exactly. He's doing hammer curls. Right. So thanks for you guys hanging out in the room. We are now using, we are not using Twitter. I don't know if that's hurting us or not. I definitely think there's less people since they moved. And I know, Jay, you were giving me the $8. You definitely were. But we've moved to Instagram. So I'm hoping you guys have Instagram accounts. We're live, of course, on YouTube, which most of you guys go to anyway. But for anybody out there, if you're talking to your peeps about Rush, I'm going to try Instagram. Going to give it a shot, right? So we're live on Instagram, NYGiants_Rush. And then, of course, here on YouTube. And if you haven't subscribed, hit the dang button, all right? Support what we do so we can do some cool stuff. I need that truth money. That pad is fantastic. Cold, Cold, that is nothing but a filter behind him, right? That is not Truth's pad, right? Now he does play the piano. I have seen and heard he does play the piano, but that's just a green screen. Don't let Truth fool you on the crib back there. Also, fantasy football. I got a bunch of tweets from you guys today and DMs today and yesterday about getting involved in the Ballers League. So excited. Thank you, Bang, for hitting me up. So it's going to be $25 entry fee. I have to open up the website. I have to link up, Yahoo with the website and get that going. If I can get 12 people, which we had 12, of course, last year, but if I get more than 12, if I can get 24, I'll do 2 leagues. All right. But right now we're at 1. I can go to 14. That's a little much, but either way, I'm working on the grand prize. Last year, Joe won a autograph of Monty Toomer jersey, and you get to kick the crap out of Spartan Mike. And please, that's the only reason why you should play is to embarrass Spartan Mike in fantasy football. All right. So if you guys have a fantasy or fantasy people,
oh my God.
No, wait. Bill, you didn't just do that, did you?
Bill.
Oh my God.
Okay.
Damn.
Listen, so Bill, I'm speechless right now. So Bill is fairly new to Rush, maybe the last 6 months, but since then, religiously, he's here. He donates. He hangs out. Good topic. We talk sometimes, on Twitter. I'm going to throw this up here because everybody should know that.
Man.
Bill just donated $85.
That's
more
a
fun on
salute.
YouTube, but we got to keep expanding the show where we can. You know what, Bill? We might just have to talk off here about bringing you on as a partner because I got to tell you that is impressive right there. And thank you, Bill. You now have a hall pass to bring any topic you want to the table. We will now cover it. We'll call it Bill's Take. All right.
Yeah.
So thank you very much. Wow. Absolutely incredible. Jake's in the building. What's up, Jake? Again, we got super loyal people and you guys are great. Morash should be here in a couple minutes. We're going to chop up what we're seeing at camp. Hey guys, I will say this, and I can bring it back when Shaun gets on. Guys, I read today that, the premise of Giants camp right now is that the country club is over and they're wearing pads. They've done away with 7-on-7. They're going 11-on-11.
Good.
Alex, this should not, I don't know, it was a COVID thing, if I remember correctly. Like the whole, hey.
The new normal.
Yeah, the new normal is September's preseason. I don't think the Giants are taking that attitude. Do you?
I don't think so. No.
We're hitting. We're on 11. We're not 7-on-7. We're 11-on-11. We got pads on, right? They're way earlier than we have in the past. I feel like there's some
urgency.
Urgency is the right word.
Intensity. Very good, Alex.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm just trying to say adjectives now.
Yeah, exactly. There is some competition at certain positions, right?
Fundamentalism. I think that's the one.
I will say that one of my biggest issues with the Giants in the last couple of years, everybody's heard me say it, I'll say it again, is that guys were given jobs. There wasn't any competition. You came in, how hard can you work? But I mean, there is competition at CB2. There is competition at corner. There is, by the way, nobody's even talking about the fact that Dane Belton's been on fire, and there's going to be some competition at the safety position, right? You brought in, right? Alex, guy came in the second round pick. You would expect him to start, right?
You would think so.
Not according to Mr. Belton. Because
he wants to play. That's great.
He wants to play, and everything I'm hearing, all the, not that I have this long list of sources, but the people that are going to camp that are pinging me on the side are saying Dane Belton is playing ball, and that's great. We interviewed him. Seemed he's a really nice guy. We know his dad a little bit from Twitter. I don't know. You guys tell me. Who do you want? Truth, tell me. Do you want the best guy to start, or do you no, the rookie's got to start?
No, the rookie doesn't have to start. Whoever earned it starts. And I wouldn't even mind if they had a rotational and they got this, they all got some snaps in. You got to have depth in the NFL if you want to be a good football team.
That was a test and you passed. All right. Alex, there's, we got a CB2 Cole, right?
Right.
If you had to say right now, like what you're looking forward to at CB2, are you looking forward to, let's say, we talked about it last week, Shawnee and me and Chris, like, do you want McLeod? Do you want Flott? Do you have any skin or a dog in the game? Or dog in the fight, I should say?
I don't have like a dog in the fight at all. Like really just whoever is the best in training camp. Really. Like it's kind of the same with Newman and Belton. Like whoever shows out the most preseason, like let that guy get the, like last year, remember Trey Hawkins kind of performed better than everybody else. Turns out maybe he wasn't the guy, but in the beginning of the year, we were like, you earned this spot. I think you go into this season with the same mentality of that. Let them earn the spot. If they lose it, so be it. But like, put the guys.
At least we'll have somebody there to help if he struggles. Right. I think we have more depth, which is good.
Yeah, and everything I'm reading is like there's a lot of positivity coming out of camp. I think there was a lot of positivity on Hard Knocks. I think that we're still talking about Van Rotten being someone, and you know what? Oh, actually, that's a really good question, Jay. Bryce Ford Wheaton. I mean, it's going to be really hard for him to make the team. I don't even know, Jay, if he's been cleared. You know what, though? I'll throw this out to Chris because he's usually our roster guy. Or unless anybody else knows, is Ford Wheaton been cleared? Because he's been, he had a.
I thought he was.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure.
So, yeah, we'll definitely look into that. But, yeah, this team hasn't had any depth, Sean. You were 100% right. And there's some competition at positions, no doubt. I'll be honest with you. I think the most intriguing. Yeah, it was a year ago, Jay. But not everybody heals the same way, right? Like, listen, you can love or hate Jones, but that dude heals fast. I mean, he had surgery on like Thanksgiving. Like in like November, that cat is moving around pretty dang good.
I think Adrian Peterson kind of broke everybody's brain when it comes to recovering from serious injuries like that, where Adrian Peterson came back from that ACL so fast. And it was just like, everybody's like, well, everybody can do that now. Like he did that. You're like, no, most people don't do that.
Yeah.
It's a slow process, but Daniel Jones is way ahead of schedule.
Yeah. And listen, like I know modern medicine makes a difference, but like honestly, for a guy who's got to pivot on that knee, slide, move up in the pocket, put all that weight on the knee when he's throwing, no, not everybody heals the same. So yeah, it's been a year ago, Jay, 100%. I don't know much. I haven't heard anything right now. I will be reporting live, next week when me and Sean are there. We're also doing, Sean, throw in the chat, throw the name of the podcast that we're going to be. So we've got some friends in the UK that have a podcast that have been really super kind to the Rush folk. So what we're going to do is we're going to call into that podcast in England, and we're going to give them a live report. That they're 5 or 6 hours in front of us. So, when their day's over, me and Chris are going to be reporting live from camp. And this kind of comes full circle to what I'm excited about seeing in camp is something that Sean has been jacked up about, guys, is the running back position has a lot of dudes right now, right? I mean, like, there's a lot of content out there on Eric Gray working hard. But as Chris just mentioned, I'll throw it up on the screen, he could be the odd man out because Turbo's killing it. Now, early in the year, I took a lot of flack for saying Turbo might make this team. I had no idea he would do this good. Alex, any thought how this is going to roll out?
Really, I just kind of want a guy named Turbo on my team. I'm going to be honest with you. I don't know if he's better than anybody, but his name is Turbo. As a Yankees fan, like Jazz Chisholm coming to the Yankees, it's like, yes, that guy should be on my team. He has a cool name. Turbo, cool name. Sounds like a perfect running back name. Let's bring him in. Let's have him there. Like, I like this guy. Everything I've seen about this guy, awesome. If it continues in the rest of the training camp, like, yes, give him a spot on the roster.
And I didn't even, I just thought maybe some special teams, but he's evidently he's had some like 2-3 really good days, which is cool.
Mhm.
And Eric Gray, by the way, is on his rookie deal. So, Truth, when you're on your rookie deal, you're cheap, right?
Yeah, you are.
So, like, if you keep, you're keeping Tracy. You're most likely keeping Gray.
You'd think.
Turbo makes the team with what do you call it being the starter?
Singletary.
Like Truth, how many backs do they keep?
Singletary, Trace. That's 4 plays you're naming right there. Right?
That's 4 backs there. Yep.
What have they done in the past, the Giants? They had Saquon, they had Breida, they had
Usually carry at least.
They had Brightwell, and did they carry someone else? Who did they carry?
Well, depending on how far back you're going, right? I mean,
Well, maybe 3 to 4 years. 3 to 4 years more.
Last year, right?
Because 4 years ago they had Penny. They had a fullback back then.
All right, let's go 2 years. Within 2 years.
Yeah, if we're just talking about Dabes, like it kind of seems like 3.
3.
Now again, a guy like Turbo could be a good
on a special
teams. Got to play special teams. Yep.
So there's a spot that you can carry 4, but technically he's on the special
right.
team.
So Mark, I see your point, Mark, about Mark Thompson about Gray being the odd man out because it could come down to who's the best pass blocker. Hands down, great point. The only thing is I can't. I've been wrong a million times, but I can't see them. The way running backs get hurt with a life expectancy of 3.5 years. I don't know. I mean, do you really get rid of a guy on his rookie contract, which is costing you next to nothing? So it's going to be hard to see if these guys actually keep 4 backs.
I think it's a possibility if he keeps playing well. And again, we still have preseason games, so a lot of these positions could be decided at the last final week of final cuts.
Yeah, man, it's interesting. Now, guys, I don't know where Shaun is. I'm going to ping him right now. So you guys can,
Well, Corbin, Shawnee B. Corbin didn't make the 53-man roster. He has Corbin on here. I don't believe he made the 53-man roster, did he?
Last year?
Yeah.
You'd have to go back and look and see if they cut him and then
yeah.
I thought he was on the practice squad.
I think he was, and I think sometimes those rosters that we're looking at right now, especially it not being the season yet, they're a little weird.
All right. Shaun says he's coming. Let's see. Said ready for me to click, but just need.
I wouldn't carry 4 tight ends. I don't know. I see Mark Thompson here.
It's Stoll. Yeah, you have Stoll, and it stops after that, right? It's Bellinger, Theo, and Stoll, and then you just 3 tight ends.
Yeah, that's what I think. And you could put one in a practice squad. If you
okay,
want.
I got a question. I got a question for both of you guys. I'm not a Cager guy, but it seems like he's having a good camp. And I'm like, do people trade? Like, is trading a thing like anymore? Like Cager seems like he could actually probably start somewhere or back up somewhere in this league, right? But Bellinger's 1, Theo's 2, and then it's either going to be Myrick or Stoll, right? So couldn't they? Doesn't Cager have any cachet, guys?
What do you get for him? Like a 7th rounder, maybe? Like, I don't know.
I don't know. It's so hard because all these cuts, teams can get guys like that too.
Yeah, they know we're gonna have to cut somebody.
Yeah, they always wait for the waiver and the thing.
Yeah, I thought maybe they could package him up.
Let me ask you something, guys. Mark has a scenario. I don't think they're going to keep. I don't think they're going to carry 3 quarterbacks. I have a sneaky feeling they're not going to carry 3 quarterbacks on the roster.
And Tommy's going to make them. It's good. What did he say? It was going to be a gamble if they don't go with them, right?
Well, I don't know. They have other positions of depth like wide receiver and tight end. They got a lot of guys, running backs who can play special teams. I don't know if they're going to carry 3 quarterbacks.
Well, I don't mean, but what I want to say is going to be a big Debbie Downer, so I'm trying not to say it.
Say
no,
it.
I can't. I know why I can't.
Craig.
I can't say it because of what you said the last time you were on. What was your quote that I put on Instagram?
Did we turn off injuries?
What does he say? What does he say?
Alex comes on, and I'm like, hey, Alex, what do you think of blah, blah, blah? And he goes, we are turning injuries off this year.
He was talking about somebody, hopefully he can stay healthy. Like, well, no. We're not going to get hurt this year. We'll just say no to injuries.
Yeah, so I'm kind of like, I was going to allude to something, but maybe I should be a little superstitious and not bring it up and say, you know what? Sorry, Tommy, you got to go. By the way, Drew Lock sucks, and it probably should be Tommy, but I might be in the minority.
His wife's hot, though. His wife
He's been playing good. From what I've been seeing, he's been doing pretty good in camp, Lock.
I don't know. You only see what they show you.
Well, of course.
You know?
Of course. We all do. Yeah.
But we know that Drew Lock is good for 2.2465 games a year. Anything over 2.456 games a year, no. And I'm sticking to that. Yeah, so Tommy might be moving on, right? If
I don't know. We don't know. I don't know. This doesn't seem they haven't done that in a very long time. Carry 3 quarterbacks. I think the last time they did that, they had that big guy, Lorenzo, right?
Lorenzo. The hefty lefty.
Super Bowl champion, baby.
Yeah,
that's
by
right.
the way, God rest his soul. He passed away a couple
R.I.P.
years ago, but he was always a fun guy to watch, right? Kentucky.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. People think I'm going to put this up on here because this is very true. And if I don't know if Shaun says he's coming. I'm sure he's jamming. Jay says people thinking Locke should start over Joan are brainwashed. Yes, they're brainwashed.
Yeah.
Yes, of course they're brainwashed.
Those are all the haters.
Yeah, there's a plenty of those.
Jones.
Shaun says, let me throw his up here. See what you guys think about that. I doubt they carry 3. Makes more sense to carry more tight ends. Whoa! Look, I see the man here. Here he is. WFAN's Shaun Morash. What's up, dude?
Guys, first of all, very much apologies for my tardiness. A lot of crap with my kids tonight. I'm really, really sorry. I hope you guys are doing all right.
It's all good, man. Look, family first. You do what you got to do. It's all good, man.
On top of that, I guess my freaking studio light is out now, too. All right. Do I look all right? All right.
You look great.
I'm still sexy. All right. Everybody good? I miss you guys. Who's ready for a freaking season here? You guys ready to go or what?
Remember this. The last time you were on, you pounded like a 10, like what I would call a 10-inch Wawa meatball hoagie. And you crushed it in less than like a minute and a half. I still have people to this day go, you're going to have Morash back on? I'm like, yeah, I don't try to bother him because he's got, enough going on. I try. And he's like, dude, you got to have him on and see if he can duplicate that. So like now they want to see it again. So
I don't have a meatball sub on the ready. I have one. My wife made homemade chalupas tonight. I ate one. I put one away. That's upstairs. I mean, look, if you wanted me to drip it all over my shirt, of course, I could put on some kind of show. I'm like Magic Mike, Fat Style, whatever you need. Whatever you need.
All right. Well, next time we have you on, we will do that. For now, we've been like holding off on talking about camp. We've been talking about Hard Knocks, whether we like it, whether we don't. Give me your crib notes.
On Hard Knocks?
Yeah, we're all in favor of what they've done, and we're having some fun with it.
Love it. And I've said this and I'll continue to say it. The reason I know I love Hard Knocks is I would love this version if it wasn't the New York Giants. I think it's been so insightful to see the way a team is built in the offseason. Yeah. And don't get me wrong, I'm not somebody who's been negative on the training camp ones or the in-season ones. I've always loved the series anyway. But being able, think about, just put yourself, this is the best way I can explain this to people, put yourself in the position you were in when the combine was coming up and you're just reading whatever reporters' tweets when they're talking about who guys are scouting, right? When free agency comes and then you say, oh, this guy went there, and you to have all of this happen, then the lead up to the draft, all the draft rumors, all the innuendo, what happens? To actually now look back and remember how I felt or you guys felt at any of those moments and see the way it played out. Like where was, I'm just going to throw, I love Art Stapleton telling me Joe Shane walked over to the Patriots freaking suite to discuss a trade up. Where was in free agency the news that John Runyon said, F that Jets, I'm coming to the Giants because, you guys upped the offer by a little bit. When it came to the draft, I mean, Daniel Jeremiah and company telling me afterwards, the Giants, they were looking to trade up for Joe Walton. Then you sit there and you see their whole draft plan. Where was Joe Walton at all?
Right.
It was fantastic. And the fact that they clearly didn't want to show the Wink Martindale stuff. So they picked and choose some stuff. But the way you saw the Saquon stuff play out, I think Joe Shane looks like a hero for the way that played out. And knowing the way John Mara was kind of breathing over his neck about that. Mm-hmm. And the draft, man, and now you see it playing out in camp. I'm sorry. Look, I love my wife. It hasn't moved more than what I've seen with Malik Nabers so far at camp. So it's all played out to me. And I think Hard Knocks has been the perfect appetizer into what we've gotten here with camp.
I started the show saying, I've been, for the last year, 2 years, I've heard, you guys are clowns. You're a poverty franchise. You're this, you're that. This actually shows the sophistication of what Shane has brought, right? He's like, we need more coaches, better.
Poverty. They don't hand out these rings. Poverty.
I'm with you.
Come on.
I'm with you. I'm waiting for my Super Bowl rings as a season ticket holder, right?
Come on.
But my take is like, now you start seeing the sophisticated conversations. You start nothing best than starting a series off watching Bowen coming in going, these are the kind of players we want. We're going to rush the passer. And you're like, yeah. This whole show is called Giants.
This is the other part with Hard Knocks. I'm glad you brought up Shane Bowen because he hasn't been talked about enough. He's kind of been like an underlying character.
Yeah.
Let me tell you something right now because camp, this is the negative part of camp. If Cordell Flott and Tay Banks are getting torched left and right, Shane Bowen is just as to blame because he went out of his way to tell Joe Shane he just needs the rushers, not the corners. That's the only negative part of Hard Knocks and that I have my eye out on. By the way, Alex, you just sit there, you shut the bleep up. You talk at all? What's up with you?
No, I'm letting you guys talk right now, man.
Jeez.
So Alex is he's our correspondent from Houston, right? So
nice.
So he lives in Houston. He does what you do, but on the Houston station.
Oh, do you really? On 610 or another station?
I work down the hall from 790, but I'm on the rock station next to it.
On the rock station. All right.
So back in the day when I worked at WISP in Philly, we were the rock station and WIP was down the hall when we were all in one building back in the day.
That's nice.
Okay.
Yeah. So
the only non-trashy part of Philly is their WIP studios. Beautiful. Plenty of tasty cakes.
It is very true. So Alex was telling me about Singletary. Oh, you're going to love this guy. You're going to love this guy. Like, so he, we like Hard Knocks because you're actually seeing these teams get built.
Yeah, man.
And you don't normally, you don't see it. You're waiting. I was saying how many times you're refreshing, waiting for some info. And this is literally like, no, that didn't happen. That didn't happen.
And I know you guys have probably covered this. The other big takeaway from Hard Knocks, if we can get to camp or whatever else, I know from my perspective doing sports radio, and obviously you guys doing all the Giants content that you do, never in my life am I trusting a Joe Shane press conference again. Because when you got behind the scenes on exactly how he is told to be prepared for every question, I went to a microphone with that info Joe Shane gave about the franchise tag still being in play with Saquon Barkley. And I, like an idiot, changed my opinion on what the Giants should do based on the fact that Joe Shane was telling me, raise salary cap again. And then you find out it's all BS.
It's all BS.
I love Joe. Never trusted a word that comes out of his mouth.
Yeah, and what makes it more funny is I'm sure when he aired that, he probably thought, whoa, I got a lot of media guys that pissed at me right now.
Screw that. Yeah, I'm actually not going because I'm on vacation, but the show's going to Giant Camp. They can interview Joe all you want. I'll tune out. I don't need the answers from Joe.
Well, it gets thumbs up from us. Like all the guys on Rush, we've had nothing but great things to say about it. Like I said, we're dying to see what happens with Bowen. He's already said, we're going to rush the passer. We're like, all right, let's go. Or we don't want a $40 million quarterback handing off to a $12 million running back. Like you're like.
By the way, you know who does? The Eagles. Good luck.
Yeah, they do. But they also have one of the best lines in football. They're allowed.
Oh, it's interesting you say that. They have one of the best lines in football. I mean,
they lost like 2 or 3 guys, didn't they?
The heart and soul of the line. Jason Kelsey retired, and he can't stop being naked on every magazine. And also, I mean, I'm sitting there reading all the Eagles stuff at camp today. Mekhi Becton taking starting reps at guard. Yeah, good luck, Saquon. Run behind Mekhi Becton. We saw that worked out in New York.
That's so funny.
Lost their guard too. Don't forget the guard.
Yeah. Mekhi Becton right now is taking reps with the ones at guard. I mean, come on.
And I tell you,
come on. Yeah, so Saquon will be healthy all 18 games.
I'm in South Jersey, and they're so brainwashed thinking that Becton's going to step right in. I'm like, have you watched him play the last 4 years?
Sad times. I'm waiting for them and the Cowboys ticking time bombs.
I love it. And you know what? You can wrap this up with a bow. We can wrap the Hard Knocks with a bow. With looking at what Runyon. Okay, listen, I'm in South Jersey, right? I used to see John Runyon, his dad, bring his kids to the ice cream shop all the time. That
How
kid
cool is that?
grew up hating the Giants. Okay?
Yeah.
Hating the Giants. And when he went like this, Jets, Giants, yeah, I'll take the Giants.
One more year, non-guaranteed money, I'm coming. No problem.
Yeah.
I think that's great. But you know what? Maybe it's like any good father-son rivalry where it's like, Dad, you know how Strahan kept you in a blender? I'm going to go play for that team now just to spite you. I love it.
Love it. All right, well, let's do this.
All right.
We've been dying to talk camp, right? We want to talk some camp because like my big issue is we still got a bunch of knuckleheads, that are out there like just evaluating people like camp, what they show you. Like we talked about this a minute ago. Truth. Did I not just say what they show you in quotes?
Yep.
I said what they show you, right?
Yeah.
They don't show. They don't. So what you see, just be happy. You can't evaluate what you see on a tweet.
And I plan on being there next week. I'm going out, but obviously I talked to plenty of people who have been at every practice that aren't just sitting there watching the film and everything. You're right. And also, let's not get fooled about something. Last year during camp, one of the biggest storylines was how awesome the offense looked with Daniel Jones going up and down the field. He looked like a leader off the contract, everything. And then what happened? Josh Azudu had to play left tackle for a couple games. Evan Neal never made any progress. And whatever you think of Daniel Jones, this isn't a Daniel Jones argument or not. Like, the offense could not get off the ground because their offensive line couldn't block real rushers when the time came and the lights came on. So I learned more than anything last year, let's not overreact. What you can take away from camp, look, is the offensive line going to be better? We hope, but like I just alluded to, they're not facing real rush yet. It was the first day in pads, so who the hell knows? Yep. But there are certain things that I think you can take away from camp, such as this. Brian Dable being the play caller. Find out today he is the one leading the offensive meetings. And above anything else, what is the one thing we've seen? Some missed, some good. Deep shots down the field. It is very clear that I don't think that's pomp and circumstance. Now, could the offensive line collapse and Daniel Jones turtle up and get scared and they don't do it in games? Sure. But there is going to be an emphasis based on camp of driving the ball down the field and using Jalen Hyatt, Malik Nabers, that all those questions in Hard Knocks, by the way, what's the identity going to be if you lose Saquon? The identity clearly is they want to drive the ball down the field with big plays. So that is something I think you can take away from camp. Whether they're successful at that or not, who knows? Can the corners cover anybody? Are the Giants receivers that great? Probably not. So that's a big time worry for me. But other than that, I mean, you know the way the preseason games work and stuff. Find the 53. We'll figure out this running back room. But ultimately, just get out of this thing healthy and hope that the new approach offensively and trying to create big plays, something this team hasn't done, is the carryover from training camp that we could all smile about.
Truth, jump in here.
No, I agree with everything he's saying, for God's sake. I think we're going to get into camp here, but we talked about the competition. I think that's great that we're seeing not only competition between players, but we're seeing good players. We're seeing Thomas against Burns.
Yeah.
We're seeing Nabers against Banks. I mean, that's only going to make
Illuminor getting hurt up against Dexter Lawrence. I mean,
what's that?
Illuminor getting hurt going up against Dexter Lawrence. I mean, we've seen that. I mean, you're right. Yeah, the Banks Neighbors stuff has been really good. Really interested, too, that Drew Phillips finally the last 2 days taking some reps with the ones at nickel because McLeod had started there early in camp. And let me tell you something, too, about Nick McLeod, his versatility inside, outside. I kind of think Nick McLeod, when all is said and done, could be a sneaky, really important player for the Giants when you consider that depth. That
very underrated.
Very underrated. Every time he's played, I mean, on bad teams, too, we've seen Nick McLeod seemingly make plays in a very unflashy manner, and he stops the run really well. All said and done, man, this corner room is going to need Nick McLeod.
He came in and started the last 2 games of the year last year and played great.
Yeah, he did.
And I kept saying, like, and you were talking about playing inside and outside, like, I'm like, wait a minute, McLeod can play safety. He can play in the box. Yeah. He plays on the corner. I'm like, this cat's
ironically a lot of Julian Love in him.
Yes, yes. And truth, you know, I was a huge Love fan too. That bothered me when they let him walk. But I'm with that. The fact that McLeod could be a sleeper, not only to make the team, but
he's making a team. But
he could be CB2.
Yes, that's what I was going to say. If Flott doesn't make the right strides, and I'm starting to get the vibe from Cordell Flott, by the way, probably more of a game time player than a practice player. And I hate to use this comparison, but the famous example of that was like Tim Tebow, right? He was a mess in practice. Somehow, some way he made some plays on the football field. He obviously didn't translate to a long career. And I hope that Cordell Flott with a 3rd-round pick is a lot better a player at corner than Tebow was a quarterback. But when you see him get beat, I still close my eyes at some of these games, whether it's A.J. Brown in that one game, he had the game versus Dallas, Cordell Flott seemingly breaking up big passes, the Viking playoff game. So if he's really getting the big boy shoes as the number 2 corner and he's getting torched right now by Jalen Hyatt, I just hope that it translates back to a game fashion. He's more of a game time player. And if not, McLeod is there.
Go ahead, Alex, jump in.
No, I'm definitely I'm really excited about McLeod. What do you think about Trey Hawkins though? Like, is he just depth forever from now on? Like, do you think he has a chance to kind of get back in that rotation maybe?
So I cannot rule anybody out in terms of the Giant cornerback room and rotation. There is nobody good enough. We hope Tay Banks is legitimately a number 1 corner, but outside of that, there is nobody good enough. I just kind of had the McLeod Flock conversation last year. Trey Hawkins as a 6th-round pick was good enough in a bad room to be the starter from day one. And then clearly we realized it was a lack of nickel at Dory inside. The whole thing was a mess. But I got to think that player that impressed the coaching staff as a 6th-round rookie is still there. And maybe they just learned their lesson that, hey, we have a couple other guys ahead of the pecking order that were higher resources used, mainly Flott. Bring him along a little slower this year than we did last year. But if he was good enough out of a camp as a rookie to start, why would I think that he's lost all ability to play cornerback in the NFL and he can't be a valuable depth piece? Now, you hope Flott's awesome, Tay Banks is awesome, Drew Phillips and McLeod are awesome, and you never really have to get to the point where you're needing him injury-wise to play. But I see no reason why Trey Hawkins should be flushed down the toilet this year after he was good enough 12 months ago to start for you as a rookie.
I just felt like he got written off so fast after. Yeah. I mean, it was a tough start, but he was also a rookie. Rookies are going to take their licks like that anyway.
The idea that Trey Hawkins stinks. Maybe he does. But clearly the coaching staff thought above their wildest dreams that he was good enough to be on the field in day 1 last year. That doesn't mean he has to be on the field in day 1 this year, but I don't think he's some kind of cast-off cut this year. No. I'd be shocked at that.
The wild card is that Bowen wants to rush the quarterback, and you're hoping that changes the pressure that's put on a guy like Hawkins or a guy like Flott because we're kicking the crap out of the QB.
Well, if they have a second or 2 less to time it out and throw the ball over their head, I mean, that could be everything. And you want to keep bringing down, maybe I'm just kind of speaking out of order here. I feel like you guys got me all spun up like a top and I'm going nuts, but another one of these guys, right? We've brought up Trey Hawkins. We've brought up McLeod. We've brought up, down the line of what's important defensively. How about Azeez Ojulari? I mean, Azeez Ojulari, very injury prone, clearly frustrated the hell out of us. Every time he's been on the field, he has been a playmaker at the pass rush position. You want to get after the passer. It should be nice. You know when the best Giant teams were? When they were able to rotate a couple pass rushers off the edge. And if Azeez Ojulari, by not playing every snap, is healthier and he gives you on minimal snaps some of the stuff he's given you and fills in there for Burns and Thibodeau, maybe you don't necessarily lose something and those guys can help it out for a drive or a couple snaps or 2. He could prove to be a very valuable piece for this team as well.
Is that enough, though, do you think, having him? Do we need another
Truth,
guy?
remember, Truth, you've been with me for 8 years, Truth. You've been with me. We named the website, and then, of course, later on in the years, we named the podcast Rush because of winning 4 Super Bowls with the pass rush.
Pass rush.
I mean, it's literally named after the best thing the Giants have ever had. So all you need Ojulari to be is Dave Tollefson. Come in with a motor. And
his ceiling's higher than Dave Tollefson. I'd be a little disappointed with a second-round pick if he's Dave Tollefson, but I understand what you mean.
Yeah,
but the truth's point,
low.
Do we need more? You'd always like more, and that's something they could add in the next draft or the draft ever, high pick, something like that, second-round pick, third-round pick. For this year, it better be enough because with $11 million left in cap space still, and you figure out what they carry over into the season, let's see how the cornerback room shakes up. And let's see what's going on here. They're going to sign Van Roten here to play guard. What's going on with the offensive line? They may just not have the resources. Maybe you get lucky to waiver wire it. Also, man, Isaiah Simmons is playing that big nickel right now. That's a guy at any point you could just – I know Wink Martindale's defense is different than Shane Bowen's, but that's a guy who can let loose on the pass rusher at any time and kind of blitz and kind of deceive coverages as well.
They got to use him in the blitz packages. They
have to. That's his biggest strength to me. I think I've seen enough Isaiah Simmons that when he gets after the quarterback in an unconventional style, that's his strength.
Alex, we talked about Alex. Hard Knocks opens up very first episode, very first 15 minutes of the show. where does Isaiah Simmons fit in? He's going to run nickel, which is basically a third safety or in that package, and then go to play like a rover or a joker back. I mean, the cat's going to be on the field. So, he
Be all over the
becomes,
place.
he's going to have a significant role.
Bigger role,
And
yep.
he's fast enough to cover the tight ends. He can rush off the outside. If they are gonna get after the passer, he seems like the wild card. Don't get me wrong. We've loved Ojulari. We've said how many times, guys, who's got more bend than Ojulari? We've never seen anybody have that kind of bend before.
We love the word bend. We love the word bend, and except for the fact that his ankle seemingly bends and his turf toe bends.
That part's bad.
Yeah, the lower body can't support the upper body.
But maybe if he's playing less snaps, he could be valuable. That's all from that perspective.
Yeah, and trust me, if you get 8 sacks out of that guy in 35 tackles,
that's a good year for a backup role player.
Just ask yourself, who would you like in that backup role this year? Would you like Jihad Ward or would you like Azeez Ojulari?
Ojulari, without a doubt.
Point blank.
Without a doubt. Yeah, and by the way,
Truth, how often you play that piano? There's no way you freaking play.
I do play piano.
No way.
I do.
You look like the lousiest piano player on face of the earth. There's no way.
All right, should I tell him truth?
Go ahead.
All right. Oh, that's right. Alex had to drop at 9:00. So, all right, Alex, we'll see you next week.
Sorry, Alex.
So, all right, here's the thing. So, I'm going to give you 3 things about Truth. So, Truth has been with me the longest of all my team, right? He's been with me for 8 years, okay? Truth's down in the Carolinas. He is a golf pro and a very good golf pro.
I see. I see.
Okay, so his game
He looks like he's telling me it's all in the hips.
but he has this music side that nobody really knows. But this is what makes it funny. He writes music, he plays piano, the whole thing. But what you're looking at is a green screen. It's not really there.
Oh, it's deceiving.
I wish that was my pad.
Truth, if you move around fast enough, it blurs out, doesn't it?
Oh, wow. Wow, I feel like an idiot now. I have a fake brick wall behind me.
It's all good, man.
I got a keyboard in where I live, but it's not like that. It's not a great piano.
But I didn't want to rat him out, but I thought we'd be honest with you.
It's all good. All good. I'm the sucker.
Let's talk about this because I've so far I am very excited, and I'm always excited this time of year. We still have those knuckleheads that are gonna, just drown out, everybody with their nonsense. Let's talk about the 2 elephants in the room. Well, one is Jones, one is Nabers, right? Mm-hmm. By the way, Truth, great point. My favorite part of today was watching Burns and Thomas go at it. And then there's the quote, and if I could find it on my phone, I'll read it, is how he's that I don't know if it was made up or not, but Burns says he's pissed at Thomas for taking him to the outside when he was probably supposed to let him go. I got to look it up, but there's a little juice there.
It's good,
which is good. The other side is the Nabers Jones thing. Just give me your take because I'm glad Nabers is here.
Yeah.
And I think Jones is going to look pretty damn good throwing him the ball. Yeah. And we're hoping for the best.
Yeah, look, I feel like every time I talk, people I don't know assume that I'm some kind of big Daniel Jones defender, and I'm not meaning that to be. I totally understand Daniel Jones's flaws and everything. But when Malik Nabers was drafted and the consensus around the league and even, idiots like Mike Lombardi, well, who's going to get him the ball? Well, first of all, are we drafting Malik Nabers for one season, or are we drafting Malik Nabers hopefully to be the number 1 wide receiver for the Giants the next 8 to 10 seasons? Okay, that's number 1. Number 2, did a season 2 years ago with Isaiah Hodgins and Darius Slayton as your number 1 wide receiver happen where the Giants made the playoffs or not? Because that did happen. I know last year happened. The year before happened as well.
Yeah.
The Giants and Daniel Jones have not had a number 1 receiver of this caliber at all. Golden Tate was the best receiver he's had in his entire career, going back to his rookie year. And the Giants, for as much as people love Saquon, have not had a playmaker of this ability since Odell Beckham Jr. Saquon, different kind of player, running back and everything.
All true.
When you are in trouble and your offensive line is under duress, and you have a guy that if you gain the confidence and chemistry with it, you could just throw it in his direction. Look, maybe sometimes an interception happens, a bad turnover happens, and makes us scream and throw our freaking bowl of ruffles. No doubt about it. But if that happens and he can go get it like some of the film we've seen in camp, That changes an offense. That changes a quarterback's confidence. It changes a play caller's confidence that you can do anything and everything you want if a guy is quite literally uncoverable. And that is the vibe we get from Malik Nabers. That is the scouting report you've gotten. He's cut from the same cloth as Justin Jefferson. Does anybody think Kirk Cousins is a great quarterback? Excuse me. I mean, he's fine. He's good. I'm not trying to, have a fight between him and Daniel Jones. Daniel Jones outplayed him in a playoff game. Could you imagine if Daniel Jones had Justin Jefferson on this team the last 2 years? I mean, that's the kind of player you're getting with Malik Nabers. Doesn't mean the Giants are perfect. It doesn't mean there's some kind of Super Bowl contender now, but the offensive trajectory changes greatly. A team that scores 19 points per game, 15 points per game, and that's a team that should be scoring 23 points per game at least. When you add a Malik Nabers, that's another touchdown per drive per game. That could be everything for this team.
And let's not forget that the cat just turned 21 yesterday. His birthday was yesterday.
Guys,
I mean, this
put it in
guy
perspective.
has
9 wins 2 years ago.
Yeah.
I'm sorry to cut you off. 9 wins 2 years ago.
You're good.
Last year, I know that the Giants won a couple nail biters, the Patriot game, Washington game. Okay. The Rams game when Mason Crosby misses a kick. The Jet game when they're afraid to throw the football the entire half. You know you need a Saquon to have another yard. The Bills game when nobody in the red zone could make a play and Tyrod Taylor had no idea what was going on. They're a play short in the Eagle Christmas game. Pick any one. Pick 2 of those, 3 of those, 4 of those games.
Could have been 8. Could have had an 8-win season.
Add Malik Nabers to the offense and tell me that extra drive they're missing doesn't happen when Malik Nabers scoring points. And I know Saquon's not there. Trade-off. Give me the receiver, stretches the field, everything. Malik Nabers could be the difference in this team being another 6-win team or the team surprising us with 9 wins. He's that good and that special.
Yeah. And like I said, think about it. He's 21 years old. He's got so much maturing to do. His game is going to continue to get so much better.
And if they go down the path of drafting a quarterback next year or trading up for a quarterback, what better way to make the next quarterback come in and have a chance to succeed right away? Daniel Jones never had Malik Nabers to succeed right away.
And what makes me laugh, truth, we talk about this all the time. At the end of the day, I'm one of these guys. I don't love Jones. I don't hate Jones, but I do know that Jones is going to throw the ball for 3,000, 3,500 yards.
I hope. He's got to be healthy to do that.
Yeah, he's got to stay healthy.
Yes, I'm saying if the cat can stay healthy for 3/4 of the season, right? He's still
especially combined with Dable's play calling.
Yes, he's going to be throwing to somebody. Before he's throwing, like you said, he's throwing to Tate, he's throwing to Richie James. I mean, he's throwing to a whole different caliber of guy.
It opens up the field too. If Nabers is killing teams early on, and he's that kind of player where he warrants those double teams the way the number 1 big time top 5 receivers in this league do.
Yeah, Hyatt and Slayton.
Who is covering Jalen Hyatt as he streaks down the field and is 10 yards past the second or third corner? Well, Wandell too. That goes without saying in the slot, but at least on the other side, think about it. If you have a pretty good nickel corner and you're throwing your resources top corner safety on it, a lot of teams don't have great number 2 corners. And now on the top of that, they don't have the speed Jalen Hyatt does. Jalen Hyatt didn't score a touchdown last year. If Daniel Jones just peels off, looks the other way, there are going to be, there should be 4 or 5 plays like this year with Jalen Hyatt's running free for 50 yards down the field.
Yeah. And right away, what drives me crazy, the reason why I wanted to bring it up was I still don't understand people evaluating players on Twitter over one piece of a tape, one piece of highlight, whether he overthrows or underthrows. I'm just like, look, it's camp. I can pull a million pictures of a Josh Allen and Joe Burrow doing the same thing.
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah.
Why
actually, it happened with Joe Burrow. I saw in camp today, and I was like, it's interesting. Barstool didn't post that one. That's funny.
Yeah. He's
also off an injury, by the way, but okay.
I tweeted it out and said, "Oh, look, someone else has incomplete."
Maybe that's where I saw it. Maybe it was okay.
Yeah, it might have been me. Yeah. But my question is and like I said, you're a younger cat than me. Explain to me, this. There's this pocket of people that just want to hate this cat so much, and I'm like this. I'm not saying I love him. I'm not saying I'm hating him, but he's wearing Giants blue. I'm going to root for this guy to win. Why are they even now? It's a clean slate, Shaun. It's a clean slate. It's a new year. They're literally picking up where they left off. Why?
It's an interesting case study because it's not like it's Giants fans versus the world in this kind of terminology. No, it's like some Giant fans versus the rest of the world who just laughs at him. There's a lot of hypocrisy in the Daniel Jones arguments for me. I think that we live in a world now where you're either the best or you're the worst, and there's no in between. And the truth is, Daniel Jones is in between, and that's okay. You can win with in between if the rest of the team is shaped up well. I also think, if we're doing a Venn diagram on this, that's part of it. I think we also got to a point, whether it was Giants fans, whether it was media covering the team, or was the outside national media and fans that watch the Giants from the outside, where the offensive line has become such an argument and such a tired debate for now a decade that people have gotten so tired about arguing about it that now it's just moved on to, well, there's no way the offensive line could be that bad. I mean, it's got to be the quarterback at this point. Look at how many sacks he took, this, that, and the other thing. Where that, to me, that doesn't fly with me. I mean, yes, last year, Evan Neal was terrible. And they had no plan at swing tackle and could not – the one injury the Giants could not have happened last year happened in week 1. That was to Andrew Thomas above anything else. And from the time that Andrew Thomas got hurt in that Dallas game in week 1 to the time that Daniel Jones's neck was taken off in the Miami Dolphin game, Josh Azudu played every snap from there on forward at left tackle, and he is a third-round guard who now I guess they're trying to work back in a tackle. He had no business being a left tackle team. They had CFL tackle play in the NFL through 6 weeks versus good teams. That ruined the season last year. It killed all the momentum that Daniel Jones had 2 years ago. Now, I think there's a good chance Daniel Jones will basically have an every other type of career where healthy season, not healthy season. And I can't get behind that. We got spoiled with Eli, but I need more faith in the health of my quarterback. That's my big issue with him, as we've seen on Hard Knocks. But ultimately, that doesn't mean that they have some kind of unplayable disaster this year at the position. I know they can win and make the playoffs and win a playoff game with him. I've seen it with my 2 eyes. And this team that the Giants have, 1 through 53, I think is better talent-wise, and it should be because it's a Joe Shane team. So people just need to let go of the Daniel Jones thing and let go of the hate and understand he's not the worst quarterback in the league. He'll never be the best quarterback in the league, but he's a quarterback you clearly can win a playoff game with in this league, and that's okay for the Giants right now.
And let's have a little bit of fun with this new style of team. We're not running through Saquon Barkley. I mean, I can.
Oh, forget about it. Daniel Jones don't get the message, and he's afraid to take shots when the lights come on week 1. Yeah. I'll be the first one saying, you know what, this is not the guy. This is it. And at the end of the year, probably ain't going to be the guy anyway because they're not going to trust the injuries. But that's the problem, man. Like, everything is set up now to go. Dable calling plays, receivers running free. We're not going to stack the box, run the game. Let's go. It's on him to pull the trigger.
Yeah, because right now, if this was last year, everyone's saying, hey, this team only has Barkley. I'm putting 8 in the box. I'm stopping Barkley, and let Jones beat us. And then it turned into every other second, third, fourth, fifth round quarterback that came and played for us the last 3 years. So it is all about the injuries. If he's healthy, with Dable calling plays, we got to have some faith. And we haven't brought up Brasillo. We got to I'm pretty sure Brasillo will make a major difference. I'm hoping Van Rotten, or if I'm pronouncing that correctly.
I've heard it all. I don't know.
Exactly. I don't know. Like someone asked me why I said today that, he'll go somewhere else if they sign him to start, because technically he's not our starter. Would you, so you have to.
Well, how many more weeks you going to let go by? And that's the Joe Shane to be very careful. You have the cap space.
Yeah, it's got to happen. It's got to happen in the next 2 weeks.
Right. How do you let? Because Evan Neal's going to come back for the last 2 weeks of camp, and you think he's just getting handed a starting job? I mean, that should not be the case just because you drafted him.
No, if you don't have, maybe I'm being a little aggressive, but if you don't have a decision by Monday of next week, he's going to go play for someone else anyway.
Yeah, you're starting to get into the preseason weeks. Yeah, there's no doubt about it. And you don't want to be left sitting there going, is it Schlotman or whatever the heck his name is starting at guard? Like, enough with the questions.
Yeah. So it's kind of like one of those things like, hey, there's a lot of good pieces. If Jones is healthy, the line is better, Brasillo's making the difference, the offense is going to be better. I don't understand why people spend so much of their energy on hating this cat. Because every day, as you just said, I'm watching Joe Burrow and I'm watching Josh Allen do the same thing. And guess what? He's going to be better by default because he's throwing to Nabers.
The fact that he's already on the field with no limitations either. I mean, it's going to take him a little while to get used to the knee and all that other stuff. And Dable's approach of making this all 11 on 11, not 7 on 7, so he feels the rush, feels the pocket, get used to the offensive line. I think that's all important right now.
Truth, what did I call it before? What was last year's training camp? What did I say about an hour ago?
Country club, probably, right?
Yeah, the country club. Yeah.
So if you look, what's the significant difference? They're very clear. 1, no 7 on 7, right to 11 on 11. Mm-hmm. Pads earlier in training camp than it's ever been. no handouts. There's camp battles, so there's actual competition. They're throwing the ball down the field, not Saquon left, Saquon right, screen left, screen right. They're going vertical down the field. It's a different team right now.
What worries me though, is
What worries you?
that next week, my big worry is that the Giants and everything that we feel good about gets exposed in these joint practices with the Lions.
Because the Lions are that good.
That the corners can't cover their receivers, that, maybe they're a little bit, our offensive line is getting abused by their defensive front, our defensive line that we've put all the stock in. That's a good old line with the Lions. Now, you don't want to overreact to training camp practices, but once you start practicing against yourself, and that's a good Lion team, I just hope that doesn't crash everybody back to more negativity here. They need at least one of those 2 days to be good.
Yes, they need to have some positivity. Yep.
Yeah.
I'm gonna put a caveat on this Lions, or maybe I should say like a sub narrative on this Lions Giants thing. One single player to me has something to prove and something to play for in those scrimmages, and that's Kayvon Thibodeau. Kayvon Thibodeau is going to have to show the world that, hey, I'm just as good as Aiden Hutchinson, because they were 1 and 2. They were the 2 big dogs. But Aiden Hutchinson right now has outperformed Thibodeau. So I think there's a little bit of chip, too, when they come into town, that Thibodeau is going to say, watch me. Your guy is not as good as me. So I think there's a little underlying tone there that the first 2 defensive ends off the board, I'm sure there's going to be a little bit of like, oh, I can do that better than you can.
Yeah, it'd be very refreshing to see Jermaine Illuminor at right tackle just block Aiden Hutchinson, and at least not let him just eat plays away and not have that. That would help too. That'd be pretty helpful.
What do you? All right, give me. I know you don't hang out with us all night. Give me your 2 storylines. One storyline that you're looking forward to. Give me one storyline you think does have to change of what it is today.
Ooh, okay. Now we're talking about camp or the season?
Camp into the season. Like there's going to be one storyline that you're like, you know what? If that stays the same, we're going to have some issues. And one is, man, I can't wait to see that.
All right. So the storyline, if it stays the same, we're going to have some issues. I'm extremely worried about the cornerback situation. I'm
both
extremely
sides
worried.
or just our CB2?
I would actually argue both sides. I am not sure that Tay Banks is ready just to be a lockdown number 1 corner. And the problem is, it doesn't mean I don't think he's a bad player. It can't be that. I'm so worried about the depth on the other side that you don't even have the leeway of saying, you know what, take a couple games, go back to being the number 2 corner, something like that. Okay. I'm sneakily worried that not enough people are talking about Tay Banks as number 1 corner, and that could be a potential issue. I hope it's not. I like what I saw last year, but it's a big. We've seen Evan Neal bust. We've seen Thibodeau be good. We assume Nabers going to be good. I think we forget that's a pretty important first-round pick in Tay Banks. I think not enough has been discussed about that because of the lack of depth around him. That worries me. Hope it works out, but that's a storyline worth monitoring. That is my big concern.
I like it. That's a good take.
Okay. Now the thing I'm most looking forward to, man, I'm most looking forward to the running back room because I am so ready for everybody to have to eat their words about how much the Giants ruined themselves by not bringing back Saquon Barkley. So you want to kill the organization for drafting him 2nd overall, but now they're also getting killed for not paying him a boatload of money. I am not that old. I'm old enough to remember when my partner now, Tiki Barber, retired. Everybody thought the world was ending, and they stepped up with Ahmad Bradshaw, Derek Ward, and Brandon Jacobs. Reuben Drones even ran the hell out of the football, and by committee with guys making less money, they figured it out, and they were good enough to obviously win a Super Bowl. I've seen this happen with other NFL teams in the past. Look, the 49ers are Christian McCaffrey. Great. That's unbelievable. They added him. It's worked out for them. How many Super Bowls have they won since they added him? Doesn't matter if they got there. They haven't gotten a ring. The Chiefs keep pumping out running backs, whether it was Clyde Edwards-Helaire they whiffed on. Now it's Isaiah Pacheco. I think the idea of Devin Singletary, whether it's Turbo, Dante Miller in there, whether it's Tyrone Tracy, we'll see what's with Eric Gray. They have enough darts thrown in the dartboard there that I don't care if 3 guys are sharing carries. Maybe it starts the first month and it's mainly Motor Singletary, and then we see the way the other guys worked in. I think by the end of the year, the Giants' run game will have the same, if not more, yards than they did last year with Saquon Barkley on the team, and I think that's an easy bet for me.
All right, so then tell me.
Easy bet.
Mike, you taking that bet?
I agree with him. I think.
All right.
I think people overlooking Singletary. I don't think you're losing much between.
I can't wait. Truth, I can't wait to send that tweet as soon as the regular season ends. The stats from last year on the ground and the stats from this year on the ground, and say, now you tell me, was $12 million worth it for Saquon Barkley? No thanks.
Right.
All right, so then let me ask a roster question, if you don't mind. How
All
many running backs do you carry? Because right now, like, you're
See?
okay. All right. So you're
Carrying
saying
4. Well, not
you're
only are you
saying
going to carry
Possibility.
Singletary,
Singletary's on the team, Tracy's on the team.
Gray.
I think Gray will be on the team, and I do think Turbo makes it. And people are forgetting this. You know why they're going to carry 4, and you know why Turbo's going to make it?
Special
The new
teams.
special teams.
The new kickoff rules. They're going to have
Yeah.
2 of those kick returners back there, and he's going to be one.
Yeah.
And I'm assuming that one of those guys has to be able to pass block, by the way.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, yes. Well, that's where Singletary will be in there at every single turn if he can on third downs and stuff like that. We'll see with Tracy. He's a converted receiver. I've heard nothing but good things. Tiki's seen him around the facility, and he has been there all winter and all spring. He was one of the rare rookies that didn't go home at all. So he really has his boots to the ground there. So, yeah, I think they're going to carry 4, and I think ultimately we're going to be very pleased with the running back room, and you're going to realize, analytically it played out where they didn't need Saquon Barkley.
Does Tiki still hang in the building? Like, is that something that's...
He's there all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's met Nabers. He's been around Tracy. He's really excited for Turbo. Yeah, he's talked with plenty of people and been over there plenty.
Am I crazy for thinking that and maybe they do, and I don't, it doesn't get enough pub, but am I crazy to think that they should be utilizing Tiki for even like during training camp to help these guys out? Like from a coaching perspective? I mean, we are talking about Tiki Barber here.
Yeah, I don't think Tiki would ever want to overstep. Coaching isn't his thing or anything like that. But yeah, I mean, he has a relationship with Dable, with the coaching staff, everybody like that. And he's really tight actually on the Jets side with Nate Hackett. I know he's talked to him about stuff. Tiki's very hands-on. He would have no problem going over there. And he has gone over there. I know he's already hung with Tracy and talked with Tracy. So that's really important. As far as like actually being on the field practice-wise, number one, I'm not even sure Tiki has the time for that. But number two, he would be more than glad if he did to pitch in there for sure.
Just saying, like, he turned out to be an all-world player for this team. And you're like, he's right here.
Yeah. And I know he's going to try to get over there, too, for the Lions practices, talk with the staff, see them, too. Because you also want to see Dan Campbell, who's his boy, former teammate with the Giants.
That's right, man. Are you going to be at camp any of these days?
I plan on. I was actually going in tomorrow to work. I'm going to work out which. I'm going to try to go to a day, if not 2, next week, and then hopefully 1 the week after. And unfortunately, when we go back as a show to camp, as I said, I'm on vacation that last week of August. But then we will also, as a show, Evan and Tiki, be broadcasting live from FanFest that Friday, that Football Friday. I don't know if that's public. I might have just leaked something there. We haven't even announced as a show yet. But to celebrate with Tiki the Giant 100-year anniversary, we as the show, Evan and Tiki, will be broadcasting from FanFest leading into that special night, that Friday night.
Boom! And by the way, it's so interesting you say that because they've moved with FanFest 2 or 3 times. So we used to stream from the parking lot.
Yeah. Now they made it later. They made it that first Football Friday, which is ironic because you get a Packer-Eagle game that night. But nonetheless, we're going to be there hanging out.
All right. So you're going to be right there in the stadium where we do the pregame, postgame stuff, right?
I believe. We haven't been given the site location yet, but one way or another, I will be there from 2 to 7 broadcasting and then hanging out after. All
right, because I'll say we'll stop by to say hello, see what you're up to. And by the way, I always appreciate it. I try not to call in a lot of favors. You know what I mean? Like, we're here every Monday, so you've always been good to us. Next time though, you got to bring the meatball sub. You got to do it.
All right. And again, I really apologize for running late today.
No, guys. Man, it's listen. Family.
I'm trying to juggle I just get home from work and family life, and sometimes it doesn't strike with 2 kids.
No, man. Like I said, family first. We appreciate you, man, and we'll see you at FanFest, and of course, make sure you guys are tuning in. Because, again, as a former North Jersey guys, it's good to have Giants fans back on the air. I think I told you this when I met you last year. I listened to the fan as a kid all the way through. Once it became a show for the Mets and the Jets, I literally had to stop listening. So, you don't have any idea how awesome it is to know that there's Giant fans on air right now. And then when Tiki came out, I was like, my God, I wish I lived up there now because I'd be listening all the time. So it's good. It's great. It feels good to have Giants fans back.
No doubt about it. I love you guys. Great show as always. And I'll see you soon, all right?
Yeah, man. Talk to you later, Shaun. Truth, stay on for a second. Shaun, we'll see you soon, man. Mike, you agree? A couple things go right, and that's an 8-win team?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, the biggest thing is health, right? Injuries, key players, of course, Daniel Jones and all the elite stars, Thomas, like what happened last year, that really hurt them. Shaun was point on about the Thomas injury.
Remember Gano too. With you have a healthy Gano. You win the Jets game, you win the Bills game, you're an 8-win team with very little talent.
Yep. Yeah, they could have easily won 8 games last year, 2 more wins, easily. A couple of games they gave away. Absolutely.
I think, again, I think people tend to give up a little too easy, that, hey, when things don't go their way.
You know what it is, Craig? We've had losing for the majority of the last decade, and you start to be negative, and you start to think negative. What's going to happen now? This is, so that maybe this is the year the Giants turn it around and start to win games that they would normally lose.
I think Hard Knocks helps because it shows that the Giants are going in the right direction.
Yeah.
Prior to Shane, you were always second guessing what the hell Gettleman was doing and his old ass doing things like backwards and upside down. And you were like, you just were pissed, right? Because you just found out like, oh, they did this wrong or that wrong. I think Hard Knocks has basically shown you we're doing it right. They're doing it right. And so it's kind of giving a new lease on life, so to speak, to the fan base that like, hey, they're actually trying to build this the correct way. It's not as splashy as you might want it to be, but we're not pulling a Gettleman where we're just like, yeah, I love that guy, sign that guy for this, or we're not, there's a plan.
No, absolutely. I think, we're seeing changes now, like you mentioned it, no 7-on-7, going 11-on-11, and they're going to, and Shaun made a good point, or it might have been you that said they're stretching the field now with Dabo making the calls. You're going to see them be more aggressive. Right? I like that. I want to see that.
I'm gonna pop this up on screen because Jay just said something that grabbed my attention. It's crazy to me that most media rank us bottom, 2 and 3 in the league. Here's what I'm going to tell you flat out for all you folks, and I wish you guys would just would stand up for the Giants a little bit and get on these national personalities. Jay, I'm going to tell you firsthand, national personalities do not study the teams they're talking about, right? And I'll tell you why. I've seen more guys, like Cowherd and these guys talking about the guy a couple weeks ago, I lost my mind, talking about Jones's fumbles. Jones has decreased his fumbles every year in the league. He had less fumbles than Josh Allen did last year, but they don't say anything about Josh Allen's fumbles, right? So when you hear these media personalities rank us at the bottom 2, bottom 3, because they have no idea that the Giants lost 2 games by a field goal last year. And thank you, Shawnee B, for saying the Rams game too. I mean, the Rams, the Jets, the Bills, they all could have won this game with a play here, a play there, a healthy quarterback or a healthy kicker, right? Like, they're not as bad. Don't get me wrong. They're not an elite team. They're not even in the middle of the road, but they're not a 30th ranked team coming into 2024 because they've upgraded a lot of positions, and Dable and Brasillo and Bowden are gonna make a difference. So yes, Jay, I can't tell you how many times I have heard these folks say incorrect information and nobody calls them on it because they're not studying the Giants. Why? Because they're not a good team. So no one peels back the onion and look at the numbers, okay?
Yeah.
They only want to talk about the Bengals, the Bills, the Chiefs. They want to talk about the 49ers. They want to talk about the Cowboys, right? They don't want to talk, maybe the Packers. They don't want to talk about these other teams. So they just skim across the top. And it infuriates me that we give these cats a pass, right? On the crap that they spit out, right? And listen all week long about people killing Jones. Like, we already know what Jones's issues are, right? But we're still going to root for the guy, and he's still going to throw a bunch of touchdowns to Nabers and Slayton and Hyatt and Johnson and Bellinger and so forth. Like, it's going to be a better team. I don't know if it's going to break the same way as it did last year, but ranking 30th overall, it's not realistic. What'd you just say, Truth, about Singletary?
I think people will look. I think he's going to be just as good as Barkley or better for the Giants.
Completely writing the guy off like he didn't just rush for 1,100 yards.
Everybody thinks of Barkley, and look, I have respect for Barkley, but this is not Barkley 2018. We're going into 2024. This is not the same player that we remember in 2018. everybody thinks they're going to see with the Eagles. It's not going to happen.
Yeah,
You can
Shawnee
save this clip.
Shawnee just put this up on here, right? Look, they also ranked Dable the 20th worst coach. Like, dude,
I saw that. Yeah.
Here's the thing, guys. Don't let them get away with it. You got to get on their ass. Either stop listening, stop watching, or you got to literally just call them out and show them the facts. Okay? It's Coach of the Year in 2020.
Yeah, so he's the 28th.
Yeah, guys. I mean, I can't. I can't fight these battles by myself, or maybe we shouldn't fight them at all. But I am saying that the quarterback tore his ACL. Okay, that had nothing to do with the head coach or the GM. So there's no one on the hot seat. The coach won Coach of the Year. He took them to the playoffs and won a game. Last year they sucked beyond belief, and down the stretch he pulled out 6 wins with a third-string quarterback. So you have a choice that we could either tell them that they're full of crap, we could stop listening to them, or stop, following them and support the folks, that actually know what's happening. So, I get fired up because I get tired of the New York bias or the slander. And I'm like, these cats have no idea what they're talking about.
They just want to put something on print. That's all.
And look, I'm okay about a truth. I'm okay with an opinion that's different than mine, but at least have it be educated or in fact.
Yeah, do your research.
Don't tell me Jones has a fumbling issue. Well, yeah, in 4 years ago, right? Let's stick to the fact that they won 6 games with the 32nd ranked offensive line. They should have won 2 games with the 32nd offensive line, right? They have the worst offensive line in football, and they still won 6 games. But to Morash's point, Shaun's point is the world has become you're great or you suck. There's no in between. But the reality is there's nothing but in between. There's one winner and everyone else loses, right? So, it is what it is, man. Like, yeah, you want to be better. The Giants have a chance to go to the playoffs this year if things click. Next year, you go get a quarterback, big free agent quarterback, you draft a quarterback, or somehow Jones just grows the beard and the guy throws for 30 touchdowns. Who knows? If he has a good year, you guys are going to
they'll find something. All those naysayers will find something negative about him. If he throws for 4,000 yards, he has a 30-10, they'll still find something wrong.
Actually, and Cole brings up a good point here. Look, says you'd have a fumbling issue if your head was getting knocked off every other play. That's the interesting thing, Cole. He's got his and knocked in the dirt, and he didn't fumble, right? He didn't have that many fumbles overall. Like I said, Josh Allen had more fumbles than he did. So the dude has done everything but win because he doesn't make good decisions, when he does have time. Even if he had a better line, who knows what he could do. It is what it is. Most likely the Giants move on from him next year unless he gets lightning in a bottle.
Right.
If the guy gets lightning in a bottle, then we're talking about something different. Then we're talking about, going out and drafting a guard in the first round or another tackle in the first round or whatever. A corner. You're going out and draft. If your quarterback stays, you're drafting a corner in the first round, right?
Yeah, if you don't get that CB2.
That's if Banks turns out to be CB1. Like Banks is built. Look, I wanted Banks. Banks was my guy, right?
Yeah, me too.
I was the guy crowing for Banks, but I was crowing for Banks as a CB2 because he's a physical corner and he's a bump and run guy, right? Like, I don't know if he can travel from sideline to sideline, and I don't know if he can cover a guy that can run a 4-3-4 or 4-4. I don't know if Banks can do that. I mean, he played a gritty game in the Big Ten, right? He's not afraid to tackle. We don't know if he's a CB1 or a CB2. But if Jones stays, you're going to go draft a corner. If not, you're hoping one of these cute college QBs pops. Anyway, thanks for watching another episode of Giants Rush. I know we ran super late and we were all over the place. Alex had some issues with his internet, and then Shaun came in late. So I hope you guys had some fun. Camp is a lot of fun. Don't buy. I mean, listen, we love Bobby Skinner and the Talking Giants guys. Their information is usually legit. It's not skewed a certain way. So Chris and I will be at camp to watch the Lions. So if you guys want to hang out and grab a beer in the parking lot, or just hang out and shoot the shit, we'll be there hanging out. And hopefully maybe I can get our boy Micah McFadden to come over and sign some autographs or something.
There you go.
And we'll be tooling around. So we hope you guys. And by the way, another shout out to Bill. If you guys aren't paying attention, this is Bill. Bill is like super stickers man and donated $85 tonight to the show, which is outrageous. That's Bill, amazing. We can't thank you enough. That's awesome support. And for anyone else out there, you don't have to donate any money. All we ask is tell people that Rush does a good job, and you follow the guys on the team. You subscribe to the YouTube channel, so we can keep doing this, because I want to do bigger and better things, but it's hard. It's really hard. So, but guys, Jay, AKA Crypto, and Mark Thompson, Bill, Cold. I'm missing Peace tonight. He's usually here, so he's probably working. The rest of you guys that all jumped in here tonight, we really appreciate it, man. We're gonna have Paul Dottino on coming up. I got a couple of YouTubers that that you guys follow on YouTube coming up. If I forgot anybody, I apologize. I think the goofball guys were on, I think, too, tonight. So, again, thanks for everybody tuning in. We'll see you guys next week. Peace out. Enjoy the rest of your week and camp. And maybe, just maybe, we'll get to see more Burns-Thomas going at it, because there's a little chatter there. There's a little chatter there that I like.
Banks and Pavaro matchup.
Yeah, baby. We know that story, right?
Yeah.
Banks and Bavaro every day going at it at practice. We'll see you guys next Monday. Thanks for tuning in. Peace.
See ya.
Hoi, hoi.